Good afternoon from the farmer's garden. I'm one of the farmers, and I'm out at the farm right now working on a chicken pen. But while I'm working on the chicken pen, I'm thinking about some other things as well. So I would like for us to do a little bit of a series on kind of like Homesteading 101, because I know there are a lot of people moving to the country and trying to start doing what we're doing. They don't want to do it for profit necessarily. They want to do it for their own families. And I think that's wonderful. But I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about it. And so I kind of want to just tell you how to get started and set some realistic expectations. So I'll do this over a series of a few videos. But the first thing I was thinking about is kind of the different categories of homesteading. Homesteading was originally a term, way back in the 1800s. The government would give you 160 acres of land if you could set up shop and survive there. Throughout different territories in the U.S., you would go and you would stake your claim. This is my 160 acres. And if you could survive there and not end up giving up and going back east to your family, after 5 years, 10 years, I should have done my history lessons before I tried to do this, but after so many years, you would get the land. It would be yours. And that was sort of the government's way of convincing people to settle the land. So the government would give you the land if you were willing to work hard enough to keep it. That benefited the government because without people settling the land, there wouldn't be any need for new territories. Without any new territories, there wouldn't be new states. And so it was a win-win. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to be nice to you. We're going to give you this land. And it took a lot of work to settle those farms. A lot of those farms didn't make it. Some of them did. And so that's where we got the term homesteading. It was the Homestead something Act. Again, I should have done my history lesson, but you can look it up. And that's where we get the term homestead. That's not a thing anymore. I think Alaska was the last state to do away with their homesteading laws in like the late 70s, 1970s. But nobody does that anymore. There's no place where you could just be like, this is my 160 acres. So homesteading now is a term that people usually use to mean we're moving to the country. So there's a few different ways that you can do that. The way we homestead, we don't call ours a homestead, but what we have done is we are building a farm that is for profit. This is a business. This farm has to make enough money to support our family as far as gas in the car, clothes on our backs, food that we can't grow because we don't grow it all. I can't find a frozen pizza plant, y'all. We're not growing it all. We still have to go to the grocery store. So we are a business. We are not necessarily a homestead, but that is an option if you want to get land and try to turn it into a business that will support you. That's a great deal. There's a homesteader that I like to follow on Facebook he just wants away from other people. And he gets a hard time. Like, he recently bought a new truck and everybody's like, oh, you're not homesteading, you have money. And he's like, y'all, I never said I was broke. So you don't have to be poor to homestead. It does seem to go with the territory some, but it's not a requirement. But he has some animals. I don't think he has a garden at all. He's building his own little house, and he just doesn't want to live with people. He has a business where he sells things online, and so that's where he gets his money. But he makes money from TikTok and Facebook videos and stuff like that too. But you don't have to necessarily support yourself from your homestead. There are people who just want to do this as a way to save money for their family. I will tell you that's one that you need to watch your expectations closely if that's your plan. If you're like, I'm going to get 5 acres and I'm going to save so much money at the grocery store. With our chickens that are currently 18 months old and laying really well and not having any health problems and everything is going well, we are currently around $3.50 to $4 a dozen for eggs. That's the feed that we have into them. I think it's like $3.50 right now. It's been a little bit since I did the math on it. The feed alone is about $3.50 a dozen. And that doesn't count if you have just raised them. It takes us $10 to $12 a bird to get them from little chick to laying an egg. So you've got $10 to $12 before you even get an egg. And that's if you if you hatch your chickens. If you have to buy the chickens, you're adding another $4, $7, $8, $12, depending on what breed, for a little fluff ball. That's how much for the chick. So you've got, 20 something dollars maybe in them before you even get a single egg. And then you've got the feed to continue to get the eggs. So please don't think that you'll move to the country and your food will suddenly be free. There's still a lot of money that goes into it. And there's different ways you can manage that. I may know other people here on this video that get their eggs for significantly cheaper than that. It may depend on your area. It may depend on how you feed them and all of those things. And like I say, it's been a little bit since I did the math on it, and I'm not even at the house right now, so I can't do the math real quick. But the last time I checked, I think it was about $3.50. Same thing with vegetables. There's a lot that goes into it. Once you get them growing, it feels like free food. But there's quite a bit to get to that point. So if you're moving to the country and you're like, oh, I'm going to save so much at the grocery store, double check. Make sure that you're really going to save that much at the grocery store. Trying to think other reasons. Other reasons people move out to the country. Some of them don't want to deal with the government, or they don't want to have to pay an electric bill. They want the low-cost lifestyle, that sort of thing. I know there's a guy on YouTube that does, and he'll tell you, like, I don't have a lot of money. I'm sure YouTube pays him because he's got a lot of videos. But he's like, I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this so I don't have to work that hard for money. So check your reasons before you move to the country and make sure that you really want to be out here. And then there are some other things just to know about living in the country. And we'll go over that in another video. But yeah, today I just wanted to kind of quickly touch on thinking through why you want to move to the country. And I'm sure I didn't hit all the things. I'm sure there's as many reasons to move to the country as you can imagine. But those are kind of some top ones. We moved to the country literally as our job. This is what we do. So ours has to make money. Some people move because they want away from other people or the government, or they want away from a power bill, or whatever your situation is. And the term homesteading is just really pretty vague at this point. It doesn't mean any particular thing. So no hate to anyone who's out here trying this, because it can mean nearly whatever you want it to mean. But there you go. There's sort of some things to think on if you're thinking about moving to the country. I hope you enjoyed our little visit. Y'all come back when you can stay longer.